All right. So if I did things right, we are now streaming.
Are we live or recording live?
No, we're live.
Awesome.
John trusted us to be live.
Perfect. Let's
That's
do this.
scary in itself, but he did. So welcome everybody. It is Monday night. Thank you so very much for taking time of your Monday to join us. In case you noticed, this does not look like MJ or John Young. They are not with us tonight. A little quick plug as I'm thinking about it is MJ has a music mixing show coming up this Wednesday. So the little precursor to that, he's like, hey, if I'm doing that, he's like, I don't know if I can do Monday too. And I said, that's all right. That's all right. I got somebody. We can hook up. So these two wonderful gentlemen, Art Armani and Aaron McPhail. And gentlemen, thank you for taking time for your nights to join us. So I guess let's give a quick synopsis. Synopsis? Wow, where did that word come from? Quick synopsis of who you guys are for those that mainly only listen to the show and aren't familiar. Aaron, where are you from? Where's home for you?
I think I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, up on the west side of the country, up by the Rocky Mountains. I'm very blessed to live where I live. It's beautiful.
Not every Canadian says A after everything they say.
No, we don't. Not after everything. Every other.
Hey.
Actually, it's more of a like a do you agree kind of a thing. It's kind of like the hey. It's
okay.
Like, check that out, eh?
Oh, makes sense.
Right? It's more like the hey. We just drop the H or put it behind the E.
Yeah.
Drop
My wife used to go to school near the Canadian border in New York. Okay. And of course the joke there is, you know how you spell Canada. C A N A D A. So that was the joke that she, proceeded to use all the time apparently. So
that's okay.
Art, how about you, sir?
Right outside of Philadelphia, wearing my Phillies. This is a different color because Eagles are doing well for football, and then the Phillies are obviously doing well at baseball, so I combined the two. We're right outside of Philadelphia in Bucks County. Just having a blast and glad to be on tonight.
Awesome. So I got to say, I met these two gentlemen face to face for the first time at Expo this past August. Art and I had talked a little bit, kind of leading up. We both had Danny Mac stuff and kind of had compared notes and different things, but hadn't met face to face. And then August hit and we got an opportunity to do that. And I was so thankful for that because it leads to friendship. So those of you, I'm going to kind of go on a side note here for a second. Those of you that are ever contemplating going to a DJ show of some sort, I highly recommend it because just open yourself up to meeting people and hanging out and just, you don't have to go to the bars or anything like that. If you're worried about that side of it, which you can, it's part of the fun, but you don't have to necessarily. But with that being said, like you get to have new friendships. And so guys, I thank you very much for that friendship as we also talk tonight. And so to fill this in, one of the things that led to this, I was looking around on some of the Facebook groups and trying to kind of get a feel for the topic that we were going to go tonight. And one of the things that kind of came up was just this conversation that some people were talking about, like, listen, I just finished a really busy season and now I'm going into the off season and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Like, it was almost like I know what I need to do, but I don't know what I need to do, if that makes sense. So I was like, this is perfect. Like, there's got to be other people. I know that was one of my biggest complaints was like, I almost feel like I'm so busy from, we'll say, April to the end of October that I don't think about what I can do. And then now, like, I have time to do it. And it's like, where do I start? What do I do? So tonight, one of the first direction that I would like us to go is this idea of what are you doing to fill the time? And I don't mean the idea of, oh, I'm going out and doing a bar gig or I'm doing corporate parties or anything. We'll talk about that all later. Yeah. But what are some of the things that you're doing to fill your time that is still working on your business?
Right.
All right.
I,
Art, why don't we
yeah.
start with you?
Yeah. So one of the things that, and it actually started, I was one of the people that really didn't take advantage of the pandemic and, do the live streaming and the Twitches. I probably should have practiced more, but as soon as it was coming towards the tail end, like say like maybe like November, December last year, I really started thinking about, well, what can I do? And it came to mind is, what am I not good at? What am I not good at when I'm mixing? What am I good at in terms of music? And I wrote down a list of things that I would like to achieve, better transitions, using certain effects to make transitions, styles of music that I never really had a good grasp on. And I would take just one little thing and practice that over and over and over again until I mastered or became somewhat proficient at it. And you have, Dan, you have a Mixcloud account and you upload your stuff too. I did the same thing finally and would practice certain, things and then record it live on my controller or my laptop and then just upload it. These are my live practice sessions. So not only did I learn new effects or how to do better transitions, but also learn different styles of music and how to be more, broaden my range. But then I also made myself promo material. So those songs that are on my Mixcloud, I actually took a couple of them and put them up on my website. And lately, this summer, I've been getting booked off of just a couple of the mixes that I've done. Is I really like what you did there. I've got to have you for my wedding. So that's one of the things that at least I think that people can do during the downtime during the winter.
I would definitely encourage anybody who's thinking about this to kind of follow in that same vein. Whether you do it from the practice or whether you just take your mixes that you've done from some of your events. If you're not recording, start recording, right? And even if even if you have to go, man, that was a really bad transition. Okay, start where I'm going to like post, like edit it. Start it after that one, if that's the case. But what I've noticed is that when you do that, it gives you, for lack of better terms, a little bit more pressure to come with your A game, right? I think sometimes when we do events, we get this idea that, okay, it's not really a dancing crowd. It really wasn't that great. And, if I mess up, only these 100 people are going to hear me. Right. And yet if you take the idea that, what, I'm going to take that mix, I'm going to take what I come from tonight and post it. Now it has the potential to reach a lot more people. And so it gives you, I don't want to say the pressure in the sense of like making you a nervous wreck, but the pressure to make sure you're putting your A game at all times. The other thing, and I noticed this has really affected my mixes. I know that's not where we were going tonight, but we went there anyway. It's made me be different in my song selection.
Yeah.
When I'm posting my mixes, when I'm recording my mixes to post, I don't want to do the same sets. Just take this set, and this set, put them together. Okay, now that this time I took this set, this one, and this one, put them together. I want to make sure that I'm doing different sets, so that way it's reaching. When I post it, it's not, oh, that's just a new recording of the exact same thing you did last week. It's caused me to look for new things. So definitely something you can do during the downtime is practice those ideas, practice those sets, and it's a great time to work on those possible different selections.
Yeah, absolutely. And not, and I rarely ever record my live sets out live. It's when late at night, the kids are to bed and I've got my own me time to really just, I've got this huge library and I'll start with one or two tracks and then just kind of grab, and I'll practice this a few times, not just sit there and do it once and record it and that's it. I will come up with like a 15-minute of just practicing over and over and over and over again. So I'm practicing my transitions and learning music at the same time. And then at the very end, I'll do it one final recording and say, this is what I learned. I may have a couple mistakes in there, but it doesn't matter. But it's really just like about an hour that I spend like creating this new mix. And then the next week or even a couple days later, I'll do the same thing with total different styles of music.
Awesome. Aaron, how about you?
That's pretty much, you took the page out of exactly what I'm going to do this year. I was really late to the game. I took advantage of the pandemic to not do anything. And I kind of sat back and I just was like, okay, I'm going to take a break. I mean, I'm over 25 years in the business now. And I said, you know what? I need this because I pretty much worked 2 jobs plus DJing full time almost, clubs to weddings for 25 years. So when it hit, I was like, you know what? I'm going to relax. I'm going to enjoy my house that I'm never in and see my kids I never see, and and just kind of like get some perspective. And that's what I did. I kind of sat back. I didn't really get into the YouTube thing till this year. I didn't get into Twitch till this year. I didn't start doing anything with video till this year. And I feel I'm really behind the 8 ball right now, with what I've been doing through video. So joining Twitch, I've recorded everything I've done so far. So I'm going to go back through all my Twitch sets during my nights off and my weekends off that I have coming. And I'm going to go through them all and say, wow, that was terrible. What can I do better? I want to be real about what I'm doing and get back and say, okay, this really worked. This really worked. This didn't work. Okay, listen to this. Okay, was that really that far out of key? Was it that far out of time? Like, what am I doing? Critique my stuff, go back, review the things I've done, and come back better. When I hit my next Christmas party or my season end party, I should be stronger just by listening to the things I've done through the year, and then try to practice and get better and better, and hopefully make myself better. And then I got approached from a company up north to do a big event next year. And they said, we want your EPK. And for those that don't know, it's an electronic press kit. And what that is, that's your bio. That's what you've done, your brag book, pretty much. Yeah. And it's like a private website that you build so that you can give it to agents. And that's who contacted me, was an agent. And I've since been contacted by buyers since talking to that agent about other shows and other events to come up for next year. So I had to learn how to create a website, because I had all that stuff done before, but I shut it off through the pandemic. So I closed everything and just kind of sat back, and because Canada was really tight. Like, I could do a wedding for 12 people. That's what we were allowed to do. So there wasn't many. So I kind of just took it as a break, and it was good for me. It was really good for me. It was good for my family. It was good for our stuff. And so now this year I'm going to focus on how to get better, how to do better, how to be better. I'm trying to learn to be a better me as well. Just kind of sit back, take more personal time, and just reflect. So I'm having a great year though. Like this past year, I can't explain it, but I haven't been this happy in a long time. Just to come back and then have these shows and have a new appreciation for being with people and for doing what we do as DJs and helping people dance and party and smile, and the weddings and all the people that are so happy, and I appreciate it more than I think I ever have. So I'm going to put more into me to give back to the people that pay me to do what we do. And so, yeah, just work on myself, work on my mixes, work on my transitions. I'm not a huge rap guy. Personally, I'm not a big fan of rap, so I'm going to learn to play more rap and get more into the new stuff that I don't listen to personally, so I can be better and more versatile. So that's where I'm going. Yeah, Art, just like you, I was behind in the game, and now hopefully I come back stronger. That's my goal anyway.
I think it's important definitely to do exactly as you said, to take some downtime. I mean, you got forced to because of the pandemic, but
Yeah.
even from the standpoint of when you go into this off season, I talked about filling the time, and I hope that nobody goes to the extent that goes, well, I typically am gone for 12 hours on an event day. And I know for Canadians, that's like, a 2-hour wedding to most Americans. But, from the standpoint of, I'm gone for 12 hours. So that now on a Saturday, I'm going to take 12 hours and do this. I think it would be better served for you to make sure that you're still, taking a lot of that time to get caught up on the things that you maybe put on the back burner. those relationships, whether it be
Yep.
friends or loved ones or
And your
Yeah.
honey to-do list
your
around the
couch.
house. There's
Yeah, the honeydew
the
around the house,
couch.
absolutely.
Yeah, I know I got some
There's a
walls
few
I got to
things.
paint pretty soon, and I know there's a little bit of work I have to do around the house. I'm not gonna neglect that much longer. Maybe depends on my couch.
But you definitely want to make sure you're taking advantage of that. But then,
Yeah,
as you said, and one of the things I liked also that you mentioned here, you mentioned about the editing and that with the video and critiquing yourself and really really analyzing that. And I think it's important that exactly as you said, you're doing it like you're doing it coming up. A lot
Mhm.
of people, I think, tend to look at the stuff that they're doing and doing it immediately. And the problem is you don't have, I think, the same eye to it as you do if it's sat for 2 months, right? Like when I think about my wedding this past weekend, like, oh man, it was crazy. Like everybody was dancing and it was awesome. And so if I were to critique myself on a Monday, I'm probably going to have a much more still gig high, for lack of better terms,
Yeah.
off of that than I am if I critique it in 2 months when I don't think the same. And I'm using exaggerations for the event, but you get the idea, right? So I
yeah,
think that's something definitely to keep in mind as you go. So here's the next question. I'm going to assume you're probably like me. You've neglected your gear for the past like X amount of months. Are there any things that you're doing? I don't want to say to purchase new because that's a whole other ball of wax potentially. But are there any things that you're doing to organize or to kind of get yourself ready during this time period so that when you come back in the new year for whatever that next series of events is, that you're ready to go?
Yeah, I'll go ahead with this one. So, you talked about 12-hour days, right? And then some of us have kids, and then some of us have full-time jobs. So that 12-hour day is a rush, 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 rush. And we've got our equipment that's set up and ready to go most of the time, but you're always grabbing cables and getting extra cables. My garage, it looks like a rat's nest of cables, like in all corners. Like they need to
yep,
be organized, categorized, labeled, whatever. And I'm sure there's like the rest of us have like these, I don't know what this is to. I have no idea. So I'm gonna start
yeah.
plugging it into things and see what turns
You
on
need
and check the
you
codes
need to
on it.
get a gold Sharpie and write down on the plug what it was for the minute you buy it. I put out a video
Yeah,
on that on my channel a long time ago. That
I
was probably
saw
my
that.
best tip I'd ever had, was write it on the plug. And I actually have
Mhm.
one that I picked up the other day and nothing's written on. I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is
Yeah,
for.
but that's the big
Take
thing.
my own
Like,
advice.
no, yeah, absolutely. And I started to actually, I have a label maker, so I started labeling some of
Oh,
them. So either label maker or Sharpie, that's a great idea. So that's going to be probably one of the biggest things because I've got those little bins, those black bins with the yellow top. There's like little ones all throughout like this house in my garage, and they've all got some random stuff. So I think
yep,
that's like the first thing I've got to tackle by far.
I hear you.
Clearing out. I've had a new appreciation for clearing out, and I a few minutes ago before everything started, I was showing these guys, you see this, right?
Yeah,
And I showed them what looks over there,
yeah.
and that's a whole other issue. And so one of my goals is kind of like yours, Art, is to go through this and clean it up. And there's stuff I have over there that I don't need to keep,
Oh
that
yeah.
not just the extra gear, but even just some of the organization piece that I was doing that doesn't make the most sense. I've had a new appreciation for declutter,
Yep.
and so that's one of the goals that I have during that off season, is to, exactly like you, either organize or it's gone. Like I'd love to sell it, but if I don't sell it in a couple weeks, the trash man's taking it because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just kind of too bad.
I
yeah,
might even offer up
absolutely.
some of that stuff in like the local Facebook groups. So like, I've got this box of wires. No one's going to buy it. Does anybody want to come by and pick it up? Like, because in Philadelphia, there's tons of people over here. We've got our own Philly Facebook group. So usually somebody takes something. There's a scrapper out in every community.
Oh yeah, I'm
What
in the
about you,
same
Aaron?
boat too.
Any
I
any
got,
gear you need to clean
yeah.
up and take care of?
Well, this year I did pretty much replace everything. I went to columns from traditional tops and bottoms. I've replaced almost everything now. You're sitting on a new what is this? The new Newmark 4 channel. I'm trying this out. I'm going to do a long-term review on it. And then maybe replace my Denon. I don't know. There's some things about this controller I like. There's some things I love. The effects in it are great. So I want to go through and decide what am I going to keep this year and what am I going to replace next year. My Denon's getting old, but it's been reliable, so I don't want to get rid of it. But yeah, it's time to replace some stuff. I got old lights. I got old Revos. Why do I have those? I've got like, what's that old one with the halogen in it? Everybody had one forever. Vertex or
Vertigo?
Vertigo. Yeah, I have an old Vertigo. I'm gonna get rid of that. That thing gets hot. You can cook eggs on that thing. It's got to go. Like I got a lot of stuff kicking around that I realized I need to get rid of. So I did. I got rid of all my old subs. They're gone this year. I purged a lot of stuff this year. Some old stands that I had that I don't use anymore. It's like, because now I got columns. I hate speaker stands. I don't know if anybody knows that about me, but I don't like them. I think they take up too much real estate and they're ugly.
Yeah.
It's just me. I don't like them. I mean, some people love them. They put scrims on them. They're happy. And I'm like, I don't. So I got rid of like old stands I don't have. I still have another set right over there that need to go. And cables. I did some outdoor shows here over the summer, some outdoor weddings, and a couple of them turned into mud fest when it started to rain that I need to clean. Like there's some that I purposely left in a box for the downtime. It was like spare 50 XLRs and spare IECs and some the extension cords. Yeah, the extension cords. Oh, they're dirty. Like
I'm sure they're caked up and dried enough. You probably just slap them and all the mud.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why you don't do it when they're wet, because it's muddy, right? Take them out, bang them out when they're dry, and then it's just easier to clean. I also have a cable checker that checks all the cables, so I'll go through.
That's a good idea.
At the end of the year. Yeah, I just got a cheap one from Behringer. I have a Behringer cable tester. You just throw a 9-volt in there and you can go through, check all your cables. I'll be doing that as well. Make sure, like, because I know I had a couple monitor cables from a festival event that I ran out that were no good. I didn't know they were any good. So now I'm gonna make sure this year when I go out, every cable I have is working. So that's going to be another thing I'm going to do.
Nice. I would also kind of give a little quick plug while we're talking about cable testers. So the Behringer one, that's good, but I know a lot of people that swear by the Moat. That's Ben's concoction Moat for mother of all tester.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It will test pretty much any type of cable you can think of. It's got a setting somewhere on there to test it.
Well, if Ben made it, I would definitely try it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, but the key to definitely testing your stuff, right? If it's not doing any good for you, there's no point in hanging on to it.
No.
You know,
especially if there's copper in there, somebody's going to take it. It's worth something to somebody. Scrappers will take it. It's like, somebody wants it, man. I'm all for it. I even got a stage over there I need to get rid of.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't need it. I don't use it. I mean, I have 2 full sets of gear. I'm good to go. I've got a backup of everything I need.
Yeah.
So I'm not, we need to filter it out.
Awesome. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. The next area that I want to talk about, right? So, you know, during our on time, I think it's very easy for us, for lack of better terms, to keep our name out there. Social media wise, marketing wise, like it's pretty easy to keep our name out there because like we've got events that we're talking about, right? Like if you post about the event you did, or it's coming up, or something related to it, I think it's pretty easy. But when I know for me personally, when I get to that downtime, my channels almost go silent. Like, and I know that's a bad thing, and I know I shouldn't. What are some things that you are planning to do or have done in the past to keep that name active out there during, you know, again, social media or marketing wise?
All right. So it never stops. So you guys know, well, at least Dan, you're pretty familiar. I'm a marketer. Like that's what I do during the week. And I've done that for years and years and years. So I kind of have an edge on that topic. It never stops. So The one thing that everybody needs to do and should always be doing is taking pictures and videos at every single event, right? And save something. Don't post all of it right away, because then you won't have anything to post in the off season.
Yes, I did something right. I
Yeah.
procrastinated on my videos. Thanks, Art.
Hey, there you go. But you can always use it. That's the best part of it. You can always use it. But make short little videos. So you should you should have a Google My Biz or Google Business profile. First of all, you need to have one. If you don't have one, get one. It's easy. It's free. You should always be posting. So making sure that there's images up there. You can post videos up there. Your social medias is kind of the same way. You can take these like handful of photos from a certain venue that you were at and make a montage video, write a blog, put it on your website, embed the video or put it up on YouTube, and create this circle of marketing between YouTube and your website. And that can actually help you rank on the search engine. So I talked about this on another show which I run, which is essentially you can rank for a service at a venue or in a town that you want to target. So if a bride or a groom or whomever is looking for a DJ that performed at a certain venue because they want somebody who's familiar with that, they may type in wedding DJ venue name or wedding DJ town. So when you take this video and you create the YouTube and you put it up on YouTube and then write a blog about it and link to that YouTube video, you're giving yourself an opportunity to show up in the search results for a bride or a groom or a client that is searching for somebody who's experienced at that venue or in that town. I've got 2 or 3 examples where I've done this and I rank higher than the venue itself when those searches are done. And awesome. I've actually gotten calls off of that. And I was like, oh, I saw your thing. You've been at the Talmore Country Club. This is one of the country clubs near me. We like to hear what your packages are because we want somebody who's familiar with that venue. Same thing for another farm venue down the road. So that's one thing that you can do is stockpile your images and your video. Don't blow it out the door as soon as you're getting home that night. Save some of them. And in the off season, create these little YouTube videos, create these little blogs on your website, and fill in those gaps of where brides and customers are looking for people who've done those venues.
Awesome tip. Art, yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Worth the price of admission to tonight's show right there.
Yeah,
it is right there. That's gold, man. That's all the DJs. I'm watching the chat here too. I mean, all the DJs that are out there right now, Mikey, Mike, and Mark, and Steve out there, guys, man, that's gold. I just want to say hi to those guys. But that is gold right there. Art, that's fantastic.
Thanks. It really was an experiment, at first. And then I saw myself ranking, like, let me try it again. Oh my God, it worked again. Let me try it again. Oh my God, it worked the 3rd time. So now this off season, I've got new venues that I'm going to be targeting.
Perfect.
So,
yeah, that's great.
Aaron, anything that you're doing during that downtime for your stuff?
I was actually doing that, and procrastination played a part in that, but me being also really, really busy over the last, for the year. And I was taking videos, I was taking photos. I'm like, I'm going to make a video. Oh, I don't have any time. I don't have any time. I'm going to make a video. Oh, I got this and this and this. I don't have time. I still have 5 events to do before the end of the month.
Oh, and wow.
I know I'm still really busy. Thankful. I'm very thankful. I know I don't take anything I do for granted. And I am going to be doing that. And you are helping me big time because I didn't even think about tagging in the venues.
Yeah.
Like that's fantastic.
And
I mean, sometimes if it's a beautiful venue in the Rockies or out in the mountains, I do some beautiful events. I do put those ones up, and then I make specific notes that it was at that place, or it was at this place in Banff or Emerald Lake, British Columbia, or down at Revelstoke, British Columbia, in the really really nice areas. I will put on there, hey, I'm here, because it's beautiful here. I'm very happy to live where I live. Yeah, it's gorgeous here. And but yeah, you know what? I should do it for almost every venue I do, because like you're saying, if couples looking to book that venue specifically and your name comes up first in that, you're going to get the call.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another thing you can do is you can actually post on their Google business page. So you can actually upload photos. So take a picture of your crowd, take a picture of your setup, in the room and upload that to their Google business page, because your name's going to show up as to who's a contributor to that photo. So that's another, they're not going to really, most of the time, not going to research that far into the photo, but they're going to see you, and then maybe they will notice the name who posted it and look you up. It's possible. So that's another thing you can do.
Yeah, I one of the seminars I went to at DJ Expo, Mike Marquez put on. Shout out to Mike. He's a pretty good guy. Him and I got to talk, and he was in his seminar. He was talking about how to circle back. So he was like, if your Instagram should have a link to your YouTube, and then your YouTube should have a link to your Facebook, and your Facebook should have a link to your Instagram, and it's this continual cycle of social media piggybacking is what it is, and it helps people to find you easier, and then find links to what you do and your stuff, and your brag books and stuff like that, and it helped get it out. So I planned on doing a bunch of that stuff, go into my social media stuff, and then start putting links to everything else in there so people can find me better. But that Google business page, I don't believe I have one. Maybe I have to look into that. So that'll be my next step. We'll be doing that. Thanks for the tip, Art. I do appreciate it. And then I'm going to try to link it back to that website I built.
Yeah.
So one of the things with the Google business page that works really well too is the fact that you have the option, you have the ability to have reviews, right?
Yes.
And there, regardless of how you feel about the knot and wedding wire, the downside to posting to relying on them for your reviews and only them for your reviews is that if they go down or they decide that, you know what, we're not going to give you access to anymore unless you pay X amount of money, those reviews are gone.
Yes.
And so whereas the Google business page, okay, technically it's Google's, but it's yours, right? So you're there in a little bit different fashion. So
the chance of Google disappearing is pretty thin. I agree with you. The chance of Google disappearing on you and taking those with you is like, Google's not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah. No, and I don't foresee them suddenly charging just to have your Google business or because they get other.
No,
they make billions off their ad.
Exactly. The one thing I think that I kind of mentioned, and all of a sudden it like hit me kind of square in the face, was if you have not received reviews from your couples, from your clients, perfect opportunity to solicit.
Yeah.
You're like, listen, I didn't, and you can even word it like, listen, I didn't really want to bother you right after your event because I know how life gets busy and everybody and their brother wants something from you. But hey, we're coming to the end of the year. If you got 5 minutes to leave me a review at XYZ or whatever, I'd really appreciate that. I know some who, especially as it gets close to cutoff dates for for the awards, with the big companies, that they will, run a contest or, listen, if you leave me a review, I'll give you a $5, Starbucks gift card, regardless of what you say in the review, whatever happens to be the case. Like there's a lot of different things like that, that can be done, but it's a great opportunity if you haven't solicited to go ahead and solicit. Circling back on your Instagram thing, one thing you definitely want to make sure that you're doing in any post where you're doing it at a venue, you definitely tag the venue, right? Like you mentioned about mentioning, you don't even have to necessarily mention, but there's a spot to tag the venue within the Instagram post. Make sure you're utilizing that, because I will say that I have had couples reach out to me days after an event because they were checking out the venue and they were checking out the venue online, and my post showed up in their link or in their search because I had tagged the venue. So it wasn't even the fact that the venue then also, a lot of times this one particular venue will share out what I've posted, like they'll reshare it or whatever. This was purely just, I had tagged before they could share, this couple found it. And I was like, let's talk.
That's great. That's great.
Like, you've been there. Let's talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And so definitely something that can work to your advantage. So
it's nice though, when you're tagging the venues, some of them really do notice, and there is a relationship that you're building with these venues, even just in that, because this guy tagged me. Next time you show up there, they actually might remember you, maybe just because of that little tag that you did. So now you're building a relationship, and you may get some extra special and privileges at a venue. Like one venue near me has an elevator, won't let anybody use the elevator.
Wow.
Last weekend I got to use the elevator. It was kind of nice. I know,
Nice.
special privileges.
This.
Nice.
But it is those things that they notice, right?
Yeah.
And I would say it's going to be more your mom and pop type places, right? The place where the owner is also the person that's helping set things up, you know. But I think that, you know, a lot of them appreciate the companies and we'll just even say the DJs that come in and then also do that tagging, that do that sharing, because it also puts you in a more professional light
Huh?
versus, you know, XY DJ service who came in and you know, didn't really do a whole lot, and when it was over, left.
Yeah.
And that was the last time they heard of them. You know, you make that relationship, you make that
Yeah.
friendship with them,
Build it.
you know, as much as we can, and it's going to have a bigger impact on them too.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I'm looking at the time. So I want to make sure we get to this third one, because this third one I think is important. And when we looked at the topic, John and I sent him this topic. I said, what are your plans for the off season? And I think John focused more on this aspect than what I did. But his idea was, you know, the idea of surviving, paying the bills, right? You know, during the season, depending upon how your pay structure is set up, you most likely have a good cash flow coming in, right? But then when you get to the off season, probably not as much. You know, I mean, depending upon how you have your deposit structure set up, and obviously if
Yeah.
your marketing's right, you've got constant flow. But let's assume for a second that that's not the case. What are you two doing to help, for lack of better terms, make ends meet from your DJ/photo booth business side? What are you doing?
From DJ/photo booth business side, I'm taking a couple extra gigs, like probably at a little bit lower costs or a lower fee, just to fill in a couple, but not too many. I am fortunate that I have a photo booth, so that helps me, because there's during these company parties, these holiday parties that come out, the photo booth kind of gets booked out a bunch. But it's also a learning experience to me, because sometimes I'll take just the photo booth gig and not the DJ gig, and I get to go watch other DJs and learn. So circling back to learning new music and new styles and emceeing, I'm kind of that fly on the wall that gets the benefit, and then, you know, picking these little nuggets from everybody else. But it's beneficial to have a photo booth, because it makes it easier for me to have more revenue coming in than just being just a DJ.
Yep.
What about you, Aaron?
I've picked up some club gigs, and I've got a couple festivals to do through the off months, and then going into the Christmas season, I've got some Christmas shows coming and some year-end parties. And then I actually convinced a couple of them to do it in January, because they'll save money on their venue. So
wow.
I talked to one of my regular clients, and I said, hey, December 9th, that I've been, or whatever the date was, the second Saturday in December, I've got like 8 calls for the same day. I'm like, do you know if you put that show in January, the venue's actually like way cheaper? And they came back with, you're kidding, I'll call you back. So they
That's
called
great.
the venue, called the caterer, they called back to me, they said, we're saving 30%. Thank you. We're going to do our party in January. How would you like to do it? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I actually got 3 events moved from double bookings to single bookings by talking them into talking to their venue, talk to their caterer, and say, hey, how much is it if I book it, say, mid-January? So I got smart with it a few years before COVID. I started doing that, talking to some of the people that really tried to stack up in December. And I said, hey, you know, you'll save a lot of money if you book us in January. And the one, we did it for some nurses. A friend of mine and I, we used to do a show with some nurses every year. And we told them, you know, you'll save a lot of money on the venue if you book it in January. They called us back thanking us big time, because they're really busy in December. And they said January was a slower time for them, and it was better for them to like get their awards ready and do the ceremonies better that they had lined up for their year-end party. And they appreciated the tip and tipped us nicely for it.
Yeah. So that was your relationship with the venues that you had that conversation?
No,
say, what's your
with the
pricing?
client, with the clients.
Oh, the
So with the
client.
clients that were calling me, trying to book us through that time, you know, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm booked. And I have 2 other guys or 3 other guys that I lean on when I get double booked. They're all booked. So the last person I told them, like, hey, have you ever thought about booking in January?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll call you back. Yep, done. Are you open this
That's
day?
great.
Yep, done, booked. And it worked out really well, because January, you get a bit of a lull after New Year's, right? I noticed years past, I was like, I need to increase, shows before Valentine's Day. I got to find that gap between Valentine's and New Year's. I'm like, what are we going to do? So I started asking them, hey, do you want to book your season end or your year end party in January?
Huh.
So
Brilliant.
I've got a few gigs already booked in December. I've got like a couple of club gigs coming up, and then a couple festival type shows where I'm opening for some artists. And then so I've got that coming, and that's going to keep me fairly busy. In between, November's got a lull to it. November is going to be my slow month when I try to tackle some projects around here. But yeah, to keep the cash flow, that's what I did to try to balance it out through the slower period coming in January, was take the shows that were stacking up in December and November and move them to January, and just try to convince the clients that, they'll save money by moving the event back. And then of course, you build a better relationship with them. You just save them a pile of money, because some of the venues are really, really pricey. And they said, thank you for that. Like they loved it. And then I got more bookings that way. I think I've got 4 events now in January.
Yeah, I guess they both kind of love you, because the venue loves you because you're giving them business in January when they normally may have some holes to fill, and the company that's hiring you is saving money. So it's a win-win.
It is. It's a total win-win. And it's one of those things I discovered, pre-COVID, I started doing that. And it worked out really well then. So I tried it again this year, and it's working. So a lot of budgets are tighter than they ever used to be because of the dark times that I call it. And they're really happy. So the clients are happy I'm helping them. And I still get to do all the parties I wanted to do with all my old clients. So I was pretty happy about that. Other thing too, I'm going to be selling off a bunch of gear that I know I don't need. I'm not going to use anymore. I've got some old lighting and stuff I got to get rid of, and some cabling to go with it. So yes, I'll be selling some stuff off, and then hopefully it floats through good.
We have to do a live auction here on DJNTV.
Right. Custom art signed light.
There we go. Exactly. One of the things I think you hit on, it's important to be able to try and move them. And I think sometimes, especially for those of us who typically deal with a lot with weddings, trying to move a wedding couple is very difficult, right? Like they're set in that date. And so trying to, hey, you can save a lot of money if you move to January. No, I want my winter wedding, I want my Christmas wedding.
That was the day we had our first dance on. We have to have it on that date.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Couples are dead set. Yeah.
Right. And yet one of the other things that kind of makes it nice when you're thinking about like corporate clients, one of the things that I always like about them during the December, January time, like if I'm going to get snow, January, February is pretty bad. Sometimes I get December snow, but usually January and February are the worst. But I know that if I have a corporate event or a school event during that time and weather's bad, they're going to cancel, because the last thing they want is their employees potentially at risk. And maybe not cancel, but they're going to postpone, right? They're going to do something. Where I always bite my tongue when I take a wedding during those times, because if it snows, we're still having it.
Yep.
And we'll just live there if we need to, but we're getting married.
As the Canadian perspective, we don't cancel.
Yeah, you got a sled dogs.
Well, you're used to it a little bit more.
Yeah, we're a little more seasoned that way. Sometimes I hope they do. I hope I get that call. It's like, please cancel. It is like, it's minus 40. It's blowing at 100. I'm like, okay, please cancel. And no, show must go on. I've driven in some pretty horrible conditions and gotten to the events, and they still show up. Like, what's a snow day? We don't have those.
Well, and I still remember like there was this one, and this one always stands out to me. And it was at a time where I wasn't taking winter events, and partly because I was towing a trailer with a Toyota Corolla. And believe it or not, that was going to happen. But I remember like I wasn't going to take any, and there was a Saturday in December, and the couple was like, no, we really want to have you. And I'm like, listen, I can't risk this, because I know that if the weather's bad, like you're going to still want to have it, and I won't be able to make it. And they're like, okay, we understand. We totally get it. And then wouldn't you know, we end up like having 1.5 feet of snow fall within like 24 hours. Like maybe not, but I don't. All I remember is that Saturday was so bad. Like I couldn't even dig myself out, let alone getting to someplace, road wise. And so that always kind of stuck in the back of my head, like, man. And again, that one was I still remember it was a December 14th. Like I don't ask me why that sticks out, but other than the fact I just remember like that was the date, and then it snowed, and I went, wow, I avoided that one, like barely. But
Probably
yeah,
because you don't miss many events. That's probably why
I don't miss any.
Well,
that's
you're
what I mean.
seasoned.
That's why
Yeah.
it sticks out. It's because it was the one that you couldn't make it to.
Oh no, I meant no. Well, I didn't get hired for it.
Oh,
I
okay.
said
Oh,
no.
thankfully.
I
Oh,
said
okay.
no to the couple.
You said no.
And then it snowed, and that's when I went, "Ooh, I'm glad I didn't take it. But yeah,
Psychic.
no, I mean, like that's the thing. Like I would figure out some way to get there, but I don't know what I would have done that day because
Yeah.
like Corolla was not towing a trailer and
Yeah.
that stuff.
No. Two of my vehicles are 4-wheel drive for a reason. And that being one of them. It's like I've never missed an event due to weather. So I mean, I always try to make it, even if the highways are closed, I go around, I find a way. I'll get there.
One thing we deal with a lot here where I'm at, and Art, I don't know if it quite makes it to you. We're a little bit close, like we're close enough to Lake Erie. We're not
Yeah,
close, but we're close enough
the lake
that we
effect.
get a lot of ice. Snow I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ice is
Ice
another
is not
story.
good.
And that's a lot of times where there's no good.
The ice is, yeah, ice is really bad. I vouch and swear by studded winter tires. Um,
Oh wow.
even in my Jetta, I mean, I can't put my system in my Jetta, maybe half of it, but that thing's unbelievable. You stud a set of tires and you put them out there in the ice. I swear by it. It works really well.
Huh.
Just a Canadian tip for anybody that has to deal with ice once in a blue moon. Studded winter tires are the way to go.
Well,
They really make a difference.
a lot of people might be in that situation this year. They were saying that this year is supposed to be a very, very cold winter, and there's potential for a lot of situations like that across the U.S., at least the northern part. And Dan, you're in central Pennsylvania. I'm in like
Yeah.
close to it, but I've lived in central Pennsylvania. I know it can get nasty.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
this
think
time
I
of year
saw
and
that same weather prediction came out, and I
all
responded on Facebook to my friend who posted, thank goodness weathermen are usually wrong.
They
that.
usually are. I cannot
I'm hoping.
believe we haven't had any snow yet here. I cannot believe how warm it was here today. The afternoon, yeah, the morning, we were right at about freezing early in the morning, and it was shot up. I think what's 20, what is that, like 60 something degrees by the afternoon?
Oh wow.
I went, what is this? We were taking off our sweaters. I'm like walking around outside and doing stuff around the yard, and I was actually sweating outside. I'm like, I cannot believe how warm this is. Like we haven't, by now, when you're shopping for your Halloween costume, you're
Uh-huh.
trying to figure out what it'll go over, like how big of a jacket you need to have on first, or if it'll fit under your jacket, because you got to figure out which one. But this year, I'm just like, pretty nice.
Oh.
I'm not complaining.
No, don't take it for what you can. Take it for what
Oh
you
yeah,
can.
for as long as we can. I'm very, very happy so far this year.
Good. I
Weather-wise.
just looked at the time. So on that note,
Yes, sir.
I want to kind of start to wrap this up. So hopefully everybody who tuned in was able to get, a few nuggets. There was a lot. Like there were some on topic things and some off topic things tonight. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I do want to give a quick plug here. So and I didn't pass this by John, so if he's mad at me, oh well, he can take it out on me later. But Art, I want to, so you have your own show, and I think it's worth at least mentioning if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Tell us what it is and how they can find it.
Great, thank you. It's Photo Booth Magazine. We just launched it in late August with Dave Stevenson. We've got a website called photoboothmagazine.com, and every Wednesday night we do have a live stream as well. Just go to the Photo Booth Network or the Photo Booth Magazine Facebook group, and as well as YouTube. We stream it live. So thank you for that plug. I mean, I'm glad to be on the show. I really appreciate it. It's an honor.
Definitely. Thank you. Aaron, is there any things that you're plugging right now? You got a new album dropping tomorrow. It's all rap, I heard.
Yeah, I'm doing my first rap album. It's called The White Boy. Pretty boring. Mostly about snow and how I miss it. Aaron the DJ, you guys can hit all my socials up. Aaron the DJ, I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Aaron the DJ or Aaron the DJ 12. You can find me on all my stuff there. I should be posting a bunch of stuff that I've been putting off for the rest of the year coming up pretty soon. I got some reviews I'm going to do and some show stuff and just little things here and there, little tidbits and tricks I'm going to be doing. Kind of inspired. Cousin of mine, he's young, getting into DJing, just fired me a whole bunch of questions. I didn't know I had a DJ in the family. I need help. How do I get out of the bedroom? So I'm going to do a little bit of a segment with him. And then I'm going to post some stuff to social media just on some of the tips I've been giving him because he's pretty ecstatic. So I'm hoping to do that soon through this break.
That is cool. I'll check that out.
You know what I found? It's so
Thank you.
interesting when you connect with family
Yeah.
that didn't realize you DJ'd.
Yeah.
Because like they're on that outskirts.
Yeah.
So I have a cousin, he's in Georgia. Like we connected, he was doing some parties, like some bar stuff. My other cousin saw his post and went, wait a minute, we've got two in the family. And then I come to find out on my mom's side, I got connected with the DJ down in Florida to the extent that like I didn't know of him, but he runs in some pretty elite circles.
Cool.
And it was just like, and his mom, we were talking about some different things and related to some personal matters. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I think it's so crazy that, you know, you and Chris both DJ. And I was like, and so we started connecting. And so like one day he and I just chatted for like an hour and a half, like on Facebook Messenger. So it is such a small, crazy world with that. Definitely.
It is.
So anyway, coming up next, we got Hanging with Howie. I don't know their topic, but if you want to check it out, Robin has dropped the link a couple times in the chat, djntv.com/chill. The guys will be recording their show. So you can jump in, you can watch it like with your cameras off. And then they do about like 20 minutes or so. And then when they're done, you come on, you talk, you hang out. Again, it's the whole idea is like this, you know, hanging in the hallway after a seminar, you know, chit chat and getting caught up. And that's where a lot of these friendships and stuff like that continue to grow and continue to prosper. So check that out. Tuesday night, I'm sure there is the typical music show with Brian and Jay and Howie. And that'll be recorded as well for posting at a later time. And I'm not sure about any others tomorrow night because of some different things. But then Wednesday, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, MJ is going to be back. He's doing a music and mixing show. So you have a chance to check that out live as well, or if in the replay, if you just for some reason can't tune in late, totally get it. But those are the things that are coming up. And then next week, John, MJ, and myself will be all back here. And I believe we're doing a Q&A show, I think. So make sure you stick around for that. Obviously, you can drop stuff in the chat or send messages to us if you have questions that you want us to talk about. I'm more than happy to have it. Again, Art, Aaron, thank you so very much for being a part of tonight's show. Everybody else, thank you very much for tuning in. Have yourself a great night. See you next time.